I love what I'm doing, guys, and I'm so very thankful that you put me here. And I mean that, honestly, from the bottom of my heart.
Okay, first off, a little disclaimer. Some of the questions I may not get to because Richard may stop me. Some of the questions definitely do not apply to what this guy does, so I will not ask those questions. Some of the questions apply to city council members, and we'll make sure that they get your question. And a couple of the questions I can't read, so I may not be able to get to those either. So the first question, we always start off with a hardball question, dude. You know that. And with all the stuff that's been on the news lately, there's a lot of tough stuff in the news today. This first question, when I ask the question, if you want to stand up too, that way he can address you and not me. This question is from Jerry. You want to stand up? Can anything be done about the fleet of helicopters that seem to go over Beverly Glen and Coy when Charlie Sheen is in the news? Oh, did you guys think I was talking about other news? I didn't know there was other news out there. Over time, one time over 3 hours, there were helicopters. Paul Koretz's office has done nothing.
Well, I think first off, you need to make complaints. So it's no less a nuisance than any other. If a guy was throwing a party down the block from you and was keeping you awake, it's no less of a nuisance. So as long as you can register your complaints and we can document that, and if LAPD, and I'll be glad to talk to the people at LAPD to see when this happens if they can clear out that area. But it's something that the police department has more jurisdiction than I do. What I can do is basically when I get the complaint, I'll file it. But I can't get them to make the complaint or to write the report, because I can't just go out there and and send the city attorney out there. But if we get the complaints, and Paul, if you guys can write up the paper, we'll put it through the system.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Also, if you didn't get your question to me, Nucci is going to stay around for a few minutes afterwards. Okay. The next three questions are all on the same topic. This is from Emil, from Ellen Vukovic, and from Jules FEIR. I'll ask the questions quickly. They're all on basically the same thing. Jules, why is it that illegal advertising trailers have not been removed? They're attached to bicycles, vans, pickup trucks, and even on skids. Ellen Vukovic asked, please explain government speech, quote unquote, and whether it's acceptable argument in allowing billboards, AIDS ads in public parks. Will you oppose or defend public's rights not to lose open space in our parks for park commissioners gave? Okay, actually that's a different question.
You know my answer to that.
I'm sorry.
But I gotta hear it.
Okay.
And then Emil asked, how is the enforcement of the new anti-billboard trailers going? I still see many in the valley.
Well, let's start with the mobile billboard. We got a law passed to ban mobile billboards. Give us teeth. Make it a misdemeanor. In fact, I got a call from a hotel who has a feud, I guess, going with one of the mobile billboard companies, and they're parking mobile billboards in front of his hotel constantly. And he's called me and he says, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Well, we're doing it. We're going after them. We're not the police. DOT, Department of Transportation, Building and Safety, even LAPD can cite these guys, can impound those vehicles, can do whatever they want. We will, look at, a rose by any other name is still a rose. You can put them on a bike, you can put them on a trike, you can put them on a car, you can put them on a wagon. I don't care. It's a mobile billboard. I'll take it to court and I'll let 12 folks just like you decide whether or not it's a mobile billboard or it's a bicycle. You know what? And then, you know what? If we convict him, then let him worry about his appeal. Until then, you know what? I'm sorry, but mobile billboards are wrong for this city. Period. They destroy quality of life. They're a hazard. They take up parking spaces. They're just bad. And they shouldn't be parked out there for 3 or 4 days at a time, or even longer, waiting for a cop to come out and tow them away. You know? I'm against them, and we're going after them. But remember, I'm the lawyer, not the cop. But let me tell you this, a police officer makes an arrest. Do you know how long a cop can hold somebody? 48 hours, that's it. And then they gotta release them, unless we file a case. So you know when they say throw the book at them? It's not the cops that throw the books at them. It's us. It's a legal book. We throw the book at them. And that's what we're willing to do. But we gotta get those reports into our office. So if you can get us those reports, the police officers can get us those reports, and the DOT can get us those reports, and building and safety can get us those reports, we'll throw the book at them. Because we know that people are upset about it. Now going to the parks. This is a very political discussion. It happened. You're probably talking about something out here, but it's all over the city. And we're being in these tough budget times. If I wave $1 in front of you, all of a sudden somebody says, "Oh, this will supplement my budget." Okay, maybe we can do this. Well, that's what got us into trouble before with our billboard ordinances, and that's why we had a federal court running our whole city law on billboards, and we were enjoined from even enforcing our laws, which, by the way, is no longer the case. We're killing them in court. All these billboard companies, they're not winning anymore. We're beating the hell out of them, and so we're going to get total control over this issue. Remember the super graphics? Isn't it great to be able to say, "Remember the super graphics"? Yeah. You know, because they don't exist anymore because we've been beating these guys. Well, the same thing here. Government speech is a lot different than commercial speech. You know, it's a lot different than commercial speech. But what I'm familiar with the most is the Yogi Bear ads. Okay, I'm sorry, but there's a movie out. Okay, involving that character. That's not government speech. It might be warm and fuzzy and everything else, but that's commercial speech. And that's just a revenue raiser. And for us, it's a non-starter. We can't go there because it puts at risk everything we've been doing. Look, there are places that I want to give signs to. I mean, I want to give the University of Southern California a sign, an off-site digital sign, which they have existing right now on the 110, that they can advertise some of their supporters. I can't do that because it will put at risk our sign ordinance. There's things that I want to do that I think are right, but if I did something that I want to do, it would jeopardize your quality of life, and I'm not willing to do that at this point. Sorry. And so everybody has to understand that although we may want to have these posters all over the park, the greater good says don't do it because you're putting at risk a much bigger issue across the city of LA, because if you do it for one, then every park's going to have it. And if you really want to see that. And so you know where I stand on this issue, and I'm pretty adamant about it, and we're taking a hard line.
Thank you. Ron Spiegel asked the next question. You kind of covered it, but I just wonder if you want to add anything else to it. With an ever-shrinking budget, how will the city attorney's office prioritize prosecutions? Who will walk in the future that currently are being prosecuted?
I thought you were going to say how we're going to survive. I was going to say prayer. I look forward to the day when I can look at. We have 100 or so reserves. Wouldn't it be great if you were all in business and you could read minds and you could look into somebody's soul, and when you hired this person, you could say, that person is going to be a great employee, right? Well, I have that ability now because these guys are working for me for 6 months. I get it for free, so I get to know who the good workers are. I get to know who the guys who kind of want to work but really don't want to work. I get to see all these people and get to evaluate them and how they work, not just for 1 day or 2 days, but for 6 months. You can't hide a lot about yourself in 6 months. And a lot of it, it's going to come out. And so we're only going to survive if we get funded. There is no way. They're talking about cutting us another 10%. There is no way that they can cut me 10% and keep this city attorney's office alive. There are going to be default judgments. If they cut me another 10%, I'm going to tell you right now, it's a message to you folks that say we want the city attorney to fail. Simple as that. Simple as that. We're mandated. We're mandated under the charter. Read the charter. We have mandated obligations. For them not to fund a mandated obligation, it's in essence outside of their power. They have to fund us. because we're mandated. They would not be following the Constitution of the city, which is the charter, if they don't fund us. Now, I've gone along with it because we've been pretty nimble. We've cut the fat out of this office completely, and we've tried to cooperate the best we can. But we're down to the point now, folks, where, and Paul will tell you this, on non-custody arrests, that means, for example, let's say that you're trespassing and you get arrested. The cop comes in and he cites you, all right? He releases you back out to on your own recognizance. Now he's got to take it down. He has to get the case filed, right? Because he can only hold it 48 hours, then he has to file the case. In order to file that case, he can't just go to the Pacific branch or to the Van Nuys branch, or he has to come all the way downtown now, file the case, and then bring it back to Van Nuys and file it in the Van Nuys court. Why? Because I don't have enough bodies to file cases in Van Nuys, in the Pacific branch, down in San Pedro, or in Hollywood. I don't have the bodies. So I've had to consolidate my filing. And the only filing that we're doing in the branches now is custody cases, where people are in custody. Why? Because we just don't have the bodies. We don't have the bodies or the funding. I got to move people off the general fund. So anytime I can move somebody to CRA or to the port or to the airport or to the Department of Water and Power and get them off the general fund, off they go, because I can't afford them. So, but we're being cut so close, so thinly now, that I do not have the luxury of taking any more cuts. And so now it becomes the issue. This is the question, this is the political question. You tell me what to do. I'm mandated. Everybody agree with that. That's in the charter. I'm mandated under the charter. My function is mandated. There's only 3 or 4 functions in the charter that are mandated to be funded. And there's not a whole lot of us, but I'm one of them. So if they don't fund my function under the charter, that means that the actions of not funding us may be what they call ultra virus, means beyond their power, because they don't have the power not to fund us, because we're mandated. But how do I force them to fund us? Exactly. Lawsuit. I do not want to do that. I do not want to sue my own city. It's stupid. Okay? But you tell me how else I get these people to see that if we don't fund the city attorney's office, we're going to cost ourselves billions of dollars in liability. Or we're going to have to release criminals that shouldn't be released. Because LAPD can only hold them 48 hours and then they got to go back out on the street. So you tell me, you get a guy who's angry at his wife. They get in a fight and he pops her. He lets her have it. Cops come and they pick her up. They take him down to jail. They book him. They hold him 48 hours. But guess what? They can't get that case filed because there's no deputies to file it. What happens to the guy? He's going to get released. Where's he going? He's going to go home and make it even for the fact that he has to spend 2 days in the can because she called the cops. And we're going to have problems. People need to see the consequences. They got to understand that when you cut law enforcement, and believe me, the city attorney's office is law enforcement. When you cut law enforcement, you're cutting the safety of the people in the city of Los Angeles.
All right. The next one is from Ira Croman. A few days ago, the Los Angeles Times had an article about a big graffiti artist. He now says he's straight and he's working and he's making money on his quote-unquote talent. Do you think it would be okay to graffiti his studio and stuff? Can you address the graffiti problem in Los Angeles?
It's going to come to an end. Listen, nobody's trying to stop this guy from making money. In the article in the paper got it wrong. We're not telling him he can't do his art. What we're telling him is that his canvas is not the city of Los Angeles. Right. Period. You want to draw something? Go down to the art store, buy a sheet of canvas, and draw to your heart's content. Go into your house, buy a house someplace, draw on the side of it. As long as it's legal and it's not a mural, but because there's laws on murals. But let me just tell you right